Hey, what's happening? I hope everybody is having a great day. It is Thursday. Just got finished eating some awesome lunch. I don't know if many of you are on lunch, but I just thought I'd just take a moment. I wanted to talk about the Republican convention. In particular, I wanted to talk about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, he's from Canada. He's one of the opponents of Donald Trump that Donald Trump massacred. To be honest, he massacred everybody. He was one of the presidential nominees for 2016. He's a lawyer by trade, and then he became a senator. He has by far the worst record in the Senate, so on and so forth, in terms of attendance, in terms of voting. I mean, out of 200 or 100 something bills that were passed or whatever, I think he may have voted on two, so on and so forth. But I wanted to address what happened last night. What happened last night. What happened last night was no less than a lesson for most of us, meaning that right here you have somebody who, in Donald Trump, is not qualified for the presidential seating. He has degraded so many people. He's ostracized so many people. He has blatantly made racial remarks, things of that nature. And so he disrespected Ted Cruz. Not only did he disrespect Ted Cruz, but he disrespected his wife. He disrespected his father. He called Ted Cruz, in no uncertain terms, a prostitute, saying that she's been around and so on and so forth. And he disrespected his father, saying he was the cause of Kennedy getting killed. He had something to do with Kennedy getting killed. So now I'm just giving you the brief history and the background and where I'm going at. So as a result of all of that, last night, everybody, with the exception of Kasich, who is the governor of Ohio, and Ted Cruz. Kasich didn't even show up. Jeb Bush didn't show up. But everybody that Donald Trump talked about, with the exception of Chris Christie, they didn't endorse him. But Ted Cruz, out of all of them, got on stage and blatantly didn't endorse them. What does that say about Ted Cruz? That he has standards. This guy has standards. And oftentimes what gets us so caught in between the thick of things is that nobody stands up for what's right. Heroes, leaders, all of the above go against the grain. Why? Because their standards, the standards of integrity, the standards of morality, that's what they stand on. And oftentimes, we find people who are swayed in their standards. And once you sway in your standards, you become hypocritical. And I'm saying all that to say to you that if you're ever destined, your destiny is calling you to go places. It's not calling you to go places to fit in, but to stand out. What's up, Bird? It's not calling you to what's up, baby? It's not calling you to fit in, but stand out. Oftentimes, the person that fits in never goes anywhere. Did you hear what I said? Oftentimes, the person that fits in never amounts to anything. It's those that will stand on the foundation of who they are, what they believe, and what they're not trying to do. In other words, yesterday, Ted Cruz, he stood there flat-footed in front of all his constituents, in front of everybody, in front of his whole party, and was willing to get booed for his standards. What are you willing to risk to get to where you need to go? Your standards. Everybody can go out here and roll with somebody. But when you stand up for what's right and what you believe, that gets you to where you need to go. When I look at people like Martin Luther King in 1963, he had 89% of the support of African Americans or black people. In 1963, when he gave the March on Washington speech and so on and so forth. By 1968, 78% of the African Americans were against him. Why? Because he wasn't talking the same language that they wanted him to talk. He didn't like the Vietnam War. And then black people didn't think he was doing enough. And I'm saying to you, he put it all on the line. Why? Because his standards meant more to him, and what he believed in and what God was calling him to do meant more to him than everybody else's opinion. You have to be willing to ignore everybody else's opinion. Ignore the status quo so that you can become above average in who you are. Sometimes we bow down to others people's opinion. We bow down to other people's thought processes and all that. And that's what gets us stuck. We become so stagnated that we refuse to go anywhere in life. You have to go against or be willing to go against family. You have to be willing to go against friends, because those are the people that will always try to keep you in the same place that they met you. Let me close with this, and I got to go. And I spoke about this before. There's a difference. It's a difference between a pond and a river. The pond, a pond, whenever you look at a pond, I have a pond in my back. The pond has mosquitoes, dead mosquitoes on top. The pond only attracts mosquitoes. It attracts flies. It attracts gnats. It attracts pests. Nothing lives in the pond because the pond ain't going nowhere. It only attracts those creatures that are non-existent and don't serve a purpose. When you look at a river, it has healthy fish. It has salmon. It has fish and all of that. And no matter where you go at, the river continues to grow. Continues to move. You can throw boulders in a river. The river will either go over it, it'll go around it, or it'll just build up to the top until it goes over. And what's the difference? The difference is that when you have a pond mentality, you only attract those that are dead, that ain't going nowhere, and that are stuck in life. And a pond typically stinks. But when you have a river mentality, that it doesn't matter what rocks are thrown at you, doesn't matter who's coming at you, you either go over top of them, you go around them, or you build up to the momentum that you can overcome anything that they throw at you. When you throw a rock in the river, it keeps going. And I'm saying to you, you have to adopt the river mentality. That man stood in front of 30 million people and never endorsed foolishness. Don't you endorse foolishness, baby, because it comes back to bite you. You got to be willing to defy the odds to make moves. You got to be willing to get rid of all of those naysayers that's in your ear. You got to be willing. You have to be willing to walk away from everybody and everybody's opinions, everybody's feelings, in order to be a leader and who God called you to be. You have to be willing to sacrifice. Doesn't matter what they say about you. Doesn't matter how they feel about you. When is the last time they fed you? When is the last time they gave you money? When is the last time they gave you gas money? When is the last time they came and gave you an award? They haven't. You made your own way. You paid your own way. They don't even know half the stuff you've gone through. You got to keep it moving, baby. And so with that, Aristotle said it best. Aristotle said, I don't even remember what he said. He said, what we do every day It's who we are. Therefore, excellence is not a part of excellence is not a part of us until it becomes a habit. And we have to change our thinking. What's in front of you and what's in back of you doesn't even equate to what's in you. You have to be willing to rise above the status quo, to rise above everybody else's opinions, and become like that river and have a river mentality. And no matter how many rocks are thrown at you, you have to keep moving. Let's go.